Hi everyone, as I come to you choking. My name is Sharlene and I am one half of the Witchy Stitchers, and I am coming to you with the attempt of doing a whip parade. I have never done one of these before, and I have quite the menagerie of a mess here, so bear with me as I try to go through these. There will be several stops and starts, and I won't apologize for that because, again, I'm new and I have a certain way that I want to get this done. So hopefully you guys enjoy the ride. A little bit of update news before we get started. So since you saw me last, which was the end of December, I think is when Morgan and I did her video when she was home over break. I've had 3 finishes, so I'll show those to you right quick. I'm going to try to not make this incredibly long. I have 99 whips, so yeah. So my first finish, this one was actually my 31st of January. So that was that finish there. I also had 3 other finishes that were gifts for birthdays and whatnot, and they've already been sent on their way, but there are pictures of those on, I'm not sure if I put them on our Instagram page, but I know that they're on our Facebook page, so go over and check those out. I also finished the Prickly Bit Cute. So I substituted the French knots for beads, and I did change the border color. And this is a PDF. It was a stitch along, oh golly, maybe in 18 or maybe in 20. I'm not sure, but it's from Fuzzy Fox Designs. And I know that it's still available because I actually just looked it up the other day for a friend of mine who was interested in the pattern. And then I don't think you guys have seen my finished, this was finished the end of December, obviously the 31st. This was my last finish for 23. So I finished 23 out with 20 finishes. I started the year with 118 whips, finished 20, did not do any new starts at all last year. And I finished off the year with, I think I can tell you, I think it was 131,000 was my totals. 131,069 stitches was what I finished 2023 with. So I was pretty happy. Coming into 24 so far. So last month, like I said, I had 4 finishes, and I finished January with 14,838 stitches, and I touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I touched 12 projects. So, and I will show those to you as they come up in the whip parade. So far this month, I have touched 2 different projects, which we're 2 days in, and now I am up to 15,336 stitches for the year. So my goal, which I believe is very doable if I can stay the course, I would like to hit 150,000 stitches for this year. So we'll see, lofty goals, but I've got a lot of stitching, and I've decided, even though I've got some planned starts and whatnot, I have decided that I want to make 24 a year of a lot of finishes. So yeah, so to get started, I have my whips. They are in chronological order. I have several that I have no idea when I started them, but I can promise you that some of these are over 20 years old. They were started before Morgan was born, and she will be, oh my gosh, she'll be 23 this year. So I have some old whips. So we're going to start with those first because I don't know their dates. And then we're going to move forward. And again, I will be pausing because I kind of have them in order, but I need to make room as I go. So let's get started first, and I will be turning to grab things. So won't apologize, just going to grab and go. So again, this one, I have no idea when I started it. It is from the World of Cross Stitching, and this is issue number 204. I had a subscription to these guys for several years. And then when we moved, I no longer had the subscription, but if I made it down to a Barnes & Noble or a Borders or someplace like that that had it, I would pick up a copy. And Luna is coming to visit, so I will try to get him down because I don't want him to make everybody need Dramamine. Anyway, but as of late, get down, Luna. Thank you. As of late, I have not been impressed with the World of Cross Stitching magazine. So I haven't bought one for quite a while. I think the last one I bought was actually last fall. And there was one pattern I got in it because I knew Morgan would like it. Just haven't been happy with the magazine lately. So this is the first one I'm going to show you. It's called the Stitcher's Haven. And the only time that this has seen love is when I have put it into a challenge. So it is not on my to-do list to get done this year, but I would like to give it more love than it is seen moving forward. That's all I have. Part of the sewing machine, part of the desk, and then the quilt over the chair. So it's a beautiful color palette. And most of these, not all, I'll try to remember to tell you, are on just 14 count white Aida. Especially the older stitching, I wasn't brave enough to step out of my comfort zone to do the different fabrics and whatnot. I was kind of leery, so they're mostly on white. So let's see, next one. Let's grab this one. This one is called Personally Yours. I just call it the mailbox. I know that this was started in either 96 or 97. I had originally started this for my folks when they built their new house, and that was in 96. So I'm pretty sure I started it the next year. And obviously I didn't get it done, so I decided that I was going to finish it for us. It is one of my very favorite pieces. It's kit fabric, kit thread, 14 count, and it's such a beautiful piece. And I'm finished all the way across to clear up to here, I think. And then it starts getting choppy, but the back stitch, the spider web, all that good stuff is done. So this one I have penciled in my Whip Go, because I am doing Whip Go this year, as a goal to get it finished. So we'll see what happens, fingers crossed. So next one, and I don't remember, like I said, I didn't write a lot of these down. But I know that this was probably maybe in 18 or 19. I'm going to think probably 18. I'm not sure. But this one's called Roasted Chickens with Potatoes. And anybody who's been on our channel for a while knows that I grew up raising chickens, had chickens pretty much until we moved here. Birds of all kinds, turkeys, geese, whatnot. And absolutely love my chickens. I replaced all of the French knots with petite beads, and as you can see, I'm done down to here, which is basically her feathers back here. So Yeah, this is another one that I have in my Whip Go for a finish when it gets called, because I don't understand why that one's not done, because it's one of my favorites. Can't answer that. Okay, next one. This one has a story. I started this one for someone that I had considered a really good friend, and you know, things happen. But I fell in love with the project. It was the first time that I had ever used anchor threads, like actually ordered and purchased anchor threads. And I told Preston, I said, for those of you that don't know, Preston's my husband, that just because I'm not giving it to the intended receiver, I still want to finish it for me because I love it. So that's how far I am. And I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if I have it in for a finish or if I have it in for 1,000 stitches. But I know that I have it in to definitely give it some love this year to get closer to a finish. So next one. So I bought this pattern when I first learned how to cross stitch back in 97, 90, 95, 97, 96, somewhere in there. And I loved the color palette. But I couldn't find the threads. They're specialty threads. They're Water Karen. Is that what they're called? Watercolors by Karen. And it took several years for me to find them and realize that I could get them at like a, you know, an actual cross stitch shop. So I ordered them and really got serious about it, because all I had done was, you know, the idea of what it was going to look like, but I had never, since I didn't have the threads, I didn't want to start it. So I found a cross stitch shop, ordered the threads, and I started it, and I think this was another 18, 19 start, maybe even a 17 start. The fabric is a 14 count vintage country cream Aida, and this is where I'm at, basically the center motifs. And again, this is another one that, why aren't you done? Like, why? It's a sampler. It should be done and adorning my walls, and yeah, I have no reason. So, and I think this one is in for 1,000 stitches this year too in Whip Go, I think. All right, next up is, let's see, this one is called Ocean Beauty. And the project bags are all made by me. I don't have any fancy ones that I've bought or anything like that. I don't know where I got this fabric. I think I got this from a gal in Wyoming, but don't quote me on that because I'm not positive. This is another one from World of Cross Stitch, and it's from issue number 59. So this would have been, let's see if I can find a year. Of course I can't. To at least tell me when this one came out. No clue. I know that we were still living over on the Western Slope when I started this one. So I'm thinking that this project is at least 10 years old, if not older. I'm going to assume so, but we both know what assumption spells. The older ones of these were the best. They had the best patterns. They were just really great. And I don't know what happened, but they're not the same anymore. And my bag is appropriate. Shiny with just some leftover fabric for the lining. I have all the stuff to finish this one. This is another one that I have in to finish this year. So this is the whole fabric, the whole piece. And I have most of the top of them done, coming down. And then of course it's got the beadwork all around it and whatnot. And when we first moved here and I first started doing the online challenges, I had worked on it quite a bit, but it hasn't been touched for a while. So I need to put that one back on the to-do list. This is one that I had started, well, I had started this one when we still lived in Durango. So this is at least, yeah, 1996, 1997. It's a Bucilla kit, and it's an Apache marriage blessing. No, neither one of us are Apache, but I do have Cherokee and Choctaw. But it wasn't about the fact that it was necessarily Native American as much as the fact that I liked what it said. So I got it to make for us. I think my original goal, this is all I have done. I think my original goal was to finish it for maybe our 10th wedding anniversary. We celebrated, how many years did we celebrate? We celebrated 32 in August. I'm a little bit behind. So it's in the to-do list. Maybe I'll get it done by our 40th. There you go. There's something to work toward. All right, next one. This one I can promise you is as old as Morgan, because I actually started this when I found out, I bought it and started it after I found out that I was pregnant with Morgan. So that tells you, and the cover is completely trashed, like, yeah. So this is what it looks like. It's called The Mother's Quilt, and it's by Karen Kluba, and actually it's from 2001. So I did buy it when I was pregnant with her, because she was born in July that year. And oh look, I found a hoop. And I wonder where all my hoops are at. So this is where I am too. So essentially, I'm trying to remember where I'm at. I think I have, I know that this one's not done because I can tell by the lack of cross stitch in it. But I know that all the top up here is done. And I think these two are done too. So I just have the bottom half to get done. And I don't think I put this one in for a finish this year, but I think I did put it in for 1,000 stitches. And according to my notes, it looks like all the blocks are done except that star one on the top there. So again, I just need to get busy and get it done. This is some fabric that Morgan found me online, and I made us both bags out of it. I think she actually uses hers for, well, don't quote me on that, but I think she uses hers for her red ornament, but I'm not positive. I'm not sure why it's so tall and skinny either. It must have been a leftover piece that I had used. I don't remember. I've slept since then. Okay, this is one that is in my Whipco poll for this month. It's called Thatch Cottage. And again, this is cross stitch collection from 97. And I know I started it not very long after I got it, because I remember I bought it to make the sampler and I bought it to make the house. And then I was going to do the carousel horse for someone, but I never got it done. This is where I'm at. And I just, Love this color palette. So, like I said, I have it in for Whip Go this month for 1,000 stitches. And I need to get the pattern in and get it blown up because it's smaller print and it's really hard for me to read. So I think next week when I go into town for groceries, that will be on the to-do list to get done. Let's see, next up, this is a Teresa Winsler. And every year I say, I'm going to get this one done. And every year I work on it, and then that's as far as it gets. But I'm making this one for Dalton. I've had a few people ask me about this book. I've had it, I got it at Hobby Lobby for 18 bucks. And I know that I've had this thing for years. I did see it on, I think it was on eBay. I was looking for some other dragon related stuff. And I saw that book on eBay and it was almost $200. So apparently I did good in buying it for 18. So here's where I'm at on it. I have the majority of this done in here. And the back stitching and whatnot. I still have obviously all of this side to get done. This is some fabric that I got it from, I'm pretty sure I got it from the same gal that I got the seahorse fabric from. She was up in Wyoming and she used to do, she used to dye her own fabric and whatnot. And again, that was before I got brave, and of course, long before Morgan started stitching and got brave and started dyeing our fabrics for us. And I don't know if the gal still does fabrics or not. I've lost contact with her. But she used to do an amazing job. I really enjoyed the variety that she had. Okay, so next up, I have an anniversary sampler. This is another one that I started probably with the intention of having it done, let's see, 2010. So maybe my thought was I could have it done for our 20th. I don't know. No clue. Anyway, it's a Jen Lynn. I don't know if this one is available anymore or not. No clue. So you just have to look for it if you're interested. And this is where I'm at. And 2 years ago, so I haven't worked on this for a couple of years. 2 years ago when I worked on it the last time, I had put it in for, I don't know, probably at least 8 or 10 different challenges. And I was really making progress on it, and I can't tell you why. Don't know. But I do not enjoy this stitch. And I thought about ditching it, which, again, if you've been here for a while, you know that's not my style. I don't ditch my projects. I start them over again, which I'm going to show you that on a couple that I have here, but I don't ditch them. And I decided that I asked Preston, I said, do you like this? Do you like this pattern? He's like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I remember when you bought it, and of course that kind of sealed the deal of, you know, I'll be finishing it. So anyway, someday it will be done. This is one that I started, there isn't even a date on here. I remember I bought this at Ben Franklin in Grand Junction when they were still in the Mesa Mall, which was a long time before either one of the kids were born. And I bought this to make for my mom. And I never got it finished. And if you know, you know. And it was one that I had kind of put in a box and had let it go. And Dalton made a comment to me one time. He saw it in the box and he was like, I really like that. And I said, you like this? And he goes, yeah. He says, finish it for me. So once in a while, I get it out and I work on it. And it is in, I think it's actually in WhipGo for a finish this year. So we'll see. He really likes it. 2 reasons I don't care for this stitch. There are 12 colors in it, 14 colors in it, and there's only 2 that you don't tweed, or that's what us old stitchers know as, basically blending. And secondly, because I had started it for my mom, so it's kind of got a little bit of a bad memory there. But I'm going to finish it for Dalton so it can adorn his home someday. All right, this one I had put in for the challenge, and I've actually been working on it this morning, so I will take off my bits and bobs. I had put this in to do, oops, upside down, to divide it into 12. And it worked out perfectly that I have 12 rows, or excuse me, I have 12 rows of 18. So 18, 18, 18, 18. And I have been working on this since August, maybe September. I don't remember when I decided to do this. Anyway, I have completed my challenge every month. So essentially I'm going, so like right here, I'm going up 18 stitches, whatever it is, all the way across. And I'm able to, so like this green that I've got on there right now, I've only got this little bit left in his face of this color, which the top of this month's challenge actually ends right there. So I'm going to be going from basically here to there. So I don't really have that much stitching, because like this one, when I finish this is 472. I have some more 472 up here in this frog that I can come in and work in. And no, it doesn't pertain to this month's challenge, but it just helps me, because as you can tell, when I get up into these later months, I've got a ton of stitching to do. So if I chip away a little bit on it every month, it's not going to be quite so overwhelming. And you will see a new start that I started in January for Morgan and for Dalton too, that I have to get them done by the first part of May for graduation gifts. They know about them. It's fine, don't worry. In fact, they helped me pick them out. But that being said, because of that, I totally lost my train of thought. I need to chip away a little bit at a time, so I'm not totally inundated in May trying to get graduation gifts and the frogs and everything all done. So next one up, I do not believe that this pattern is available on Haid. You would need to contact Haid to find out. I got it in 2 different World of Cross Stitch magazines, issues 232 and 233. And for whatever reason, I mean, I grew up hunting jackrabbits and cottontails and whatnot. Cottontails, fried rabbit, and mashed potatoes and gravy. You just can't beat it. But never had a use for a jackrabbit, because they're not good eating, trust me. I mean, I guess if you're desperate, but cottontails are the best. Anyway, but when I found this, even though it's a hare, what I know as a jackrabbit, the ears, I absolutely fell in love with it. And like I said, To my knowledge, it's not available on Haid. I've seen several people request this pattern, and it's not available. So, and it's on this massive piece of fabric. That is all the farther than I'm at. When I started this, I did not know, I had never done a full coverage before, that I could start this in the corner. So this is the center start. Actually, this is the center right here. So I have him in for, I think I have him in for 1,000 stitches, but he is definitely one of my Haids that I would really, really like to get done. Like I said, he's on 14 count, so it's going to be a big picture, but I'm okay with it because I think he's cool. I have seen it finished on a few different full coverage pages, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful finished piece. This one, another sad story to it. I had started it for an individual who at the time told me that they absolutely loved it, that they, oh my gosh, it was so pretty. And so I started it, and the next time I went to see said person said, I have no desire whatsoever to have anything like that on my wall. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had gotten a good chunk of it done. And so brought it home, told my mom the story, and my mom's like, well, make it for me. I love lilacs. And I'm like, okay. Again, if you know, you know. So again, this was one of the ones that I had sincerely pondered, am I going to keep this? I don't enjoy this. And Morgan saw it when we were going through our whips when she was home in March a year ago. She's like, Mom, I love that. Of course, she loves purple. She's like, will you please finish it for me? Yes. So first thing I need to do, I did have it in my whip go last month for 1,000 stitches. I ended up getting 1,035. So this was one of the ones that I've touched since we've last visited. And I gave it a good washing, just saturated, just scrubbed the tar out of it with stain stick. I had a stain here, and then there's another one up in the top, but it's out of the line of stitching. So this is the only one, and I think I can live with that. This stitch I know for a fact is older than Morgan because I started it way before she was born. So, but I'm going to finish it for her house, for her home. Mostly because, like I said, I know she loves purple and she loves lilacs. So this is another one that I need to get in and get the pattern blown up because it's not friendly to my old eyes. And I have no intentions of stopping stitching anytime soon because of my vision, because I enjoy it too much. And Preston has bought me 2 different pairs. Well, one of my best friends bought me a pair of cheaters, and I use them faithfully. And then Preston found me another pair here last summer that actually has a light. It's awesome. But my only complaint with it is that it is very heavy, and I think it's because of the battery for the light, but it works wonderful. And even, I mean, I've got 2 good lamps that I have behind me, behind my couch. So even if I took the batteries out and just used the magnifying part, it would be perfect. So anyway, okay, so those are all of the ones that we do not know what date they were started. They were started a long time ago. So moving forward, these will all have dates, and I will try my hardest to tell you the start dates on these so you have an idea. I would love to be able to say, okay, because I see several stitchers do this, which I think is great, but they say, okay, for my focal point this year, I want to finish all of my starts from 2015 or 2018 or whatever. And I would love to be able to do that. But obviously, as you can see, there's some pretty big ones in there that they're not going to get done this year, but it would be nice to at least touch them and put a dent in them. So moving on, we have dates. So this one is very poignant to me. And I think that that's one of the reasons why this one's not done. My dad died on the 27th of June in 2011, and I had went out I was home when I got the call that he was passing, and so jumped in the truck, ran out to the ranch. Preston was still with the kids, or was still at work, so the kids were with me, and I sat with he and my mom. Of course, the nurse showed up, and because he had, I wouldn't call it hospice care, but he had a at-home health nurse, and I stayed with him and I held his hand until he had passed away. And I had this kit with me because I always carry some stitchy something to stitch on. And I had actually taken it out to the house because I was going to show my mom because I was going to start it. And so while we waited, you have to remember we lived 100 miles from the nearest city. We lived in a very, very tiny, literally less than 500 people town. And so we had to wait for the coroner to drive from Montrose to our town, which is 89 miles, for them to come and pick up my dad. So it was midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And so I sat at the table and I talked to the deputy coroner who, or not the coroner, the funeral home to come and pick him up. Sat and visited with the coroner and of course my mom, and I started this. And so it's really hard for me to get back to. Another thing is that I hate the pattern. The pattern is terrible, and obviously I can't show it to you. Well, no, because I don't even have it in here. I ended up taking it to Office Max and completely getting it blown up, like huge blown up, because it's all in color and it's really, really hard to read. And so I blew it up and then, cut and pasted the whole thing together. So it's in like, I don't know, 8 or 9 pieces. So it's huge. I can read it. And I did work on it this last year, and I really enjoyed it, and it made me feel good. And, every year for a long time I'd say, oh, I'm going to get this done, before the anniversary, and one of these days I will. But this one's a tough one, and eventually it will get done. But it's called Butterfly Forest, and it's a gold collection. And it has all the, I think this is a cream, but it's 14 count. All the threads are provided. It's beautiful. It's stunning. I always said that I wasn't, someday I'll get it done. Yeah. So, all right, next up is a Wizard's View, and I have 2 projects in this bag because, postage stamps. This one is from Joan Elliott's Bewitching Cross Stitch. I have stitched this dragon. It actually hangs in our living room. Morgan is actually stitching this one, A Witch's Best Friend. And we've both stitched little motifs out of this one for different things. But the first one I'm going to show you, like I said, is a Wizard's View. And I started this one on June 23rd of 2018. So this is another one that I'm doing for Dalton. And again, this is another one that I bring out, I say, oh, I'm going to get this done. And yeah. I bought the fabric. I want to say I got the fabric from Stony Creek, but I can't remember. It was an online shop. So that's where I'm at. So this panel, so the pattern is in 4. This panel down to, I want to say right in here somewhere, that quarter is completely done. All the cross stitch, all the beading, back stitch, the whole 9 yards, it's completely done. And I worked on this quite a bit last year. I had put it in for some challenges. I think my main focus was the cape. I know I worked on this border. I think I brought all this down too. If I took a month and worked on nothing but this, I could get it done. I just can't do that. I don't know why. I think it's because I need to have a variety to keep me entertained, which is silly. It almost sounds like an excuse. It feels like an excuse when I say it too. Anyway, so that's the only one that I have from 18. So I guess that's a good thing. I have one from 18 that I know for sure of. Some of these others could have been from 18, but again, I didn't write down the dates, so I have no idea. This one is, I started this one on 6/14, so I started on Flag Day of 2019. And this is Betsy Rossberry from the Boyd collection. And I don't remember what the fabric is, but it's mottled, kind of muddled, which I absolutely love. And I think, yeah. So hopefully you can see the fabric, which you can't, because of course it's going to wash out. But it's very, it's not dirty, but it's kind of dirty, which I love because it gives it that old-timey look with being for, you know, Betsy Ross. This is pretty much where it's at. This is another one that I need to get in, and I'll show you back here. I need to get in and get blown up. I think I would enjoy her much more. The little girl, the little bear that I am doing for Morgan for graduation is a Boy Bears. And same thing, you know, very tiny pattern, very difficult to read. And I need to, this is the zipper pull that Morgan made me to go with it. The little bear. I thought that was sweet. And then of course, patriotic fabric. I took Morgan's graduation variant and got it blown up, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely having a blast working on it. So I know that the reason that I am struggling to work on that one is because I haven't gotten the pattern blown up. So, and again, I have no intentions of quitting stitching anytime soon, so I need to get the pattern done. All right, this pattern I bought, I bought off of eBay when, I think I bought it in 2015. And I started it on June 15th of 2019. And I have the guts and the pieces to make this into an actual clock. So the clock would go right here, the working part. This is one of those that I don't even think it would take 2 weeks. The majority of what's in this one that will take the time is the back stitch. Especially, you can see it here with threads, with the face of the clock and everything. It would not take long at all to get this done. So again, this is another one that I put in, and I think this one is actually in Flip Go for a finish. I think. Don't quote me on that one. Okay, let's see, where am I at? The next one is Wild West, and I started this one on June 18th of 19. And This one is from the Cross Stitcher. I don't think I had a subscription to this one. I think I just would pick it up if I found it. That is what it looks like. And I had initially started this for Dalton. And I started a long time ago. So he was little, but he was younger. And when I got it back out to work on it here, I don't know, last year, maybe 2 years ago, he was like, well, yeah, you can finish it, but why don't you finish it and we'll hang it in the living room? Because he really likes the saying, which I do too. So this is a piece of fabric that I had dyed. I don't even remember what I used. I might have used, I don't think it was a coffee tea. I think this was actually some liquid Rit dye, I think. I don't remember. But that's where I am to it. So I'm about, and again, this is another one that I honestly think a week and this one could be done. The big part that, for me, that took the longest, because I didn't want to mess up on counting, so I made sure to have the letters and stuff off of it, was the horse and the rider. So, but this one is in, I'm pretty sure this one is in Whipco for a finish. And Denver Bronco bag, because gotta have my donkeys. And my zipper pull that Morgan made me is a 6-shooter, which, totally appropriate. So again, that's another one that I'd like to have finished and have hung up. And this one, I misplaced my threads when I was pulling everything out of my boxes, but I keep all my threads sacked up, so I'll find it. I have this really weird thing about memorizing the threads that go with the pattern. I'm just weird. All right, so this one is out of, this is old. This is from October of 96, Cross Country Stitching. I used to have a subscription to these too. I have all of these houses. I have all of the magazines with all of the houses. And someday I hope to start them. Someday. We both know that that's just code for never. But I had started this one on July 24th of 19. And I had started it because Morgan was supposed to have, which she did, but not formally, graduate in 20 from high school. She did graduate, but she didn't get to have the ceremony or anything because, you know, the C word. But I had started it for a teacher that she had. And I, plugged away on it a little bit, and she had asked me not to finish it for said teacher. And I said, okay. And now I have somebody in my life who I absolutely think the world of, who is a school teacher. And I have decided that I am going to, after I'm done with graduation gifts, I'm going to get serious, and hopefully I can get this done and give this to her in the next year or two. This is where I'm at on it, and I just love that color palette. Hang on, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Preston was calling to let me know what his plan was for the evening. So we're supposed to get snow, so he's on snow shift. And anyway, so I was trying to remember how many, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So I have 24 to a page. So we're almost a quarter of the way there, and we're an hour in. So hopefully you guys aren't too tired of me yet. All right, so the next one that I have, this was started on the 25th of August in 2019. This is called Festive Frosting, and it is the only Christmas cross stitch that I have. I am not a big fan of Christmas. I won't bore you with all the ugly details. Christmas isn't my thing. But in saying that, I have no Christmas cross stitch. So I figured that I need to do something. So what my plan was for this was, and what I was doing last year, was the 25th of every month I would pull this out and I would work on it. And I was doing really well. And then holidays rolled around and got busy, and that was as far as it went. My previous plan was to finish a cupcake every month. But that didn't happen. So I'm not sure what the plan is moving forward on that one, but I need to get back to it because it needs some love. All right, next thing, and this is my Aries, and this is my Josephine Wall in my astrological bag, my very large bag. And I think, I do. I actually have a picture of this one. And I am doing this one on 14 count. And yes, it's going to be massive, but it's for me because I'm an Aries. And that's what I wanted. Psst, kitty. Kitty goes in the craft room. So this is where I'm at on it. And Morgan bought it for me this year. No, it had to have been last year. I think it was last year. It might have been in 22. She bought the pattern for Pattern Keeper. So I just need to download it and get it put in there so I can use it on Pattern Keeper. All right, the next one, I started this one on, so this one has 2 starts. Remember I told you I restarted them? So Morgan made this one for me too. She made all my zipper pulls. I do the project bag, she does the zipper pulls. So this one is, don't I have a picture of you? Hang on, I'm pretty sure I have a picture of you. This one is Trance from Haid. And 2 stories behind this one. Number 1, just before my dad died, he told me that if you ever see a dragonfly, it's me coming to visit you. And number 2, my dad was obsessed with poppies. He loved poppies. He always associated poppies with the war. My dad was not able to serve in the war, and he always kind of had a little bit of a grudge about that because he kind of felt like he was cheated from being able to serve his country. I had originally started this on 5/10 of 20 during Mania, and I had started it on 25 count, and I did 2 over 2 or 2 over 1, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Thought I was going to love it because it had that, very tapestry look to it, and I hated it. And I was like, okay, I got to come up with a plan. So Morgan got me some, I think it's 20 count, because I can see it really well from sitting right here. It might be 22 count. It's either 20 or 22 count. And I restarted it on the same day in 22. And have almost the same amount done on it that I did before. And this is another one that she got on pattern keeper. And this is definitely one that I want to get done and hang on my wall. If nothing else, as an homage for my dad, because that one's really poignant to me. So I'll get back to that one someday. All right, I'm trying to see if I can locate. Aha. Okay, next one is Hearts of the Kingdom. And I started this one on, or oh no, excuse me, I'm out of order. First up is Dog Lessons. I started, this is another Mania start. I started this one on the 13th of May in 2020. And I'm not positive, but I think I have this one in. No, I don't. This is another one that I would really like to get done this year. And then I want, when I get it done, then I want to get the cat lessons. And because we are both dog and cat people, we have 2 dogs and 4 cats. So this is where I am at. Again, 2 weeks. I don't even know if it would take 2 weeks. Those letters go up really fast. And this is on, I don't remember what the fabric is. It's a specialty fabric that I got from, it's not, maybe it's natural, but it's in Ada. It's 14 count. It might be natural, but it doesn't seem right. Anyway, it's specialty threads. It's wheats and crescent color lips as the colors you use. Again, there's no reason it shouldn't be done. It's just not. All right, next up is Hearts of the Kingdom. And I started this one. Poe, you better be good. This is on the sewing machine. I started this one on 5/14 of 20. And I started this one for Preston. It's all the colorful colors. And this is a piece of fabric, 14 count, that I dyed. And I don't even remember what I used to dye it. I don't know. And it's totally washing out, but there's some pinks and some blues, and that's a little bit truer. Anyway, that's how far I am. Poe, psst. On right thing. This is another one of those that I had, not last year, 2 years ago now, that I would do like a motif every month, or, you know, do something on it every month. And I was going along, I was doing really well. Anyway, I need to get back to that. All right, so this is going to be a little bit out of order, but not really. So I will show you what I can because of the dates on it. Oh, that's the thread for his deal. See, I told you I'd find him. All right, so on, and again, these are Mania starts. So on the 25th of May in 2020, I started August. These are the Country Cottage Needleworks. And I have all of them done, but the ones that I'm going to show you. So I pass the patterns on to Morgan because she wants to make them. So this is how far I've gotten in August. And I'm using all the called for threads. They're specialty threads and DMC. And I took my patterns into Office Max this fall, and I got them all blown up. They're huge. So I can see them. I don't have any trouble reading them. So I can really focus on getting them done this year because I'm tired of not having them to decorate my walls. Next up, on the 27th of May of 20 was September. And this one's start is even worse. So, need to get back to that one. What I'm hoping to do, and again, I keep using the H word, is once I get done with the kids' graduation presents, to do, you know, do better with my focal finishes for the rest of the months of the year. We'll see how I do. I did good in January, but, you know, best laid plans. Okay, so next up is 28th of May in 2020, and this is November. This is disgusting. There's November. There's where I got to. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Poe, you better be good. Are you looking at the neighbors out the window? She sits on the ledge behind the sewing machine and stares out the window at the neighbors. It's kind of funny. All right, so now we're skipping December, going to the 29th of May 2020. This is a Joan Elliott, and I have pretty much the whole collection of her fairies. I think I'm missing a couple of them, but I have pretty much all of her fairies that she put in the cross stitch collection. And I'm trying to see, this is a good enough picture if I need to bring out the big one. I'll bring out the big one. So this is the Ladybird fairy. And I was actually kind of doing a stitch along with another stitcher here on Flosstube, but she's way ahead. She's not done by any means, but she's kicking butt on hers. I'm nowhere near caught up. This fabric is another chunk that I got from that gal in Wyoming. And that's all the further I am on her. This is another one that I need to take in and get the pattern blown up. Because it's not friendly to my old eyes. So I'm hoping that I can do that. And this is my bag that I made for it appropriately. Hey, Bobby, get out of here. But I want to sniff everything, Mom. All right, and then the last one of these that I have left to do is December. And I actually made some good progress on this one this year because I had put it in for a challenge at the end of the year. In fact, I might have even showed this one in our last video. I'm not sure. Can't remember if I did or not. But I did make some progress on it. Still got the thread on. So again, and all of these were on 18 count, and it was just some cream on 18 count. I don't even know where I gotten it. So anyway. All right, so that takes us through, oh no, we have one more in May of 20 that was a Mania start. And this one, let's see if I can just find the picture so I don't take the whole thing out. Because this is a bear to get back in there. Aha, I can. So I have had this pattern for a long time. And it's Pretty Pumpkins by Glendon Place. And if you know, you know that I love pumpkins. I have a whole down this hall right here, I have a huge grouping of different pumpkins that I have stitched. This is all the further I am. Basically, this center bit right here. So when I took in the months that I just showed you to have them blown up, I also took in this pattern, and this pattern is massive, and that's just 14 count white fabric, by the way. I had this pattern blown up so I could work on it easier. And I got home and I realized that, because I got to talking to the gal, I wasn't paying attention, and she missed the entire, so the pattern's like this, she missed this entire bottom corner right here in blowing it up. Which is fine, because I can work on the rest of this and work all the way around it and everything, and then eventually I'll take this back in and get it blown up so I can get it stitched. It's not going to happen anytime soon, because, I mean, you know, because. So now we are on to June 9th of 2020, and again, another Bronco bag, just a plain white zipper pull. This one, and I actually have this one in Pattern Keeper too. Morgan found this from Awesome Pattern Studio, and it's a mandala rooster. And I also have the mandala hen, but I haven't started it yet. And this is my incredibly pathetic start. And I think I actually have this one in for a finish in WIPGO, because it's doable. It's not a huge piece. So again, more for my chicken wall, because, you know, chickens. All right, next up is my spice bouquet. This one was a kit that I had bought off of eBay in 2015. I started it on the 16th of June in 2020. That's what it looks like. And I started this one because I absolutely love the colors. And again, another, let's see, which direction does it go? An incredibly pathetic start. So this one needs to get more time and work up. All right, now I need to find this one, because this was one of the ones that I couldn't locate in trying to find my stuff. So here's a bag. There's a story behind this, if you're new here. I used to have, when I was growing up, had a cow dog too, because I grew up on a ranch. But I had a dog. She was a little miniature poodle, and her name was Dusty. And Dusty had many talents. But Dusty's number one talent was, well, two talents. Number one, she loved to ride in the basket on my bicycle. And we would ride to the post office, we would ride to the library, and for a very short time, my dad worked for the coal mine in Hayden, because the coal mine where I grew up at shut down. So we lived there for my 7th and 8th grade year. Still had the ranch, but living in town, you know, I didn't have my horse or anything like that. So I spent a lot of time at the library. And she would ride to the library with me. She was very well trained. She'd go into the library, and, you know, the librarians loved her. Like, she was just spoiled rotten. She'd ride down to the gas station with me and get a candy bar, like she was spoiled rotten. But she would ride in the basket like that. Dusty could also ride a horse. I had taught her how to, I could stick my foot out, and she could hop up on my foot and then hop up on my leg and then hop up on my horse. And I never rode with a saddle. I always rode bareback. So she would ride, basically she would balance herself on my horse's withers, and she went everywhere with me, everywhere. So when I saw this, I had to make this as an homage to Dusty, because that's my dog. So that's how far I've gotten on her. Again, another pathetic start. I'm thinking, again, 2 weeks, and this one would be done in no time. Sad, sad. It should be done. Let's see. Next one I have up is Shabby Summer. I have all of these, but I have only started, oh, and you know what? There it is. I have only started, I'm trying to remember, summer and winter, I think, are the two that I've started. That sounds right. Anyway, this is Shabby Summer. And Morgan dyed this fabric. And I have the first motif completely done. So the Little Mermaid is completely done, backstitch and all. And what my hope was with this one was to stitch a block on it every month. But again, Destiny plans. So, and I started this one on the Bear. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that. The Bear I started on 6/19 of 20. Shabby Summer I started on 6/20 of 20. And then next up, and I got to start keeping an eye on the clock because I've got to leave here pretty soon to go pick Dalton up from work. And I'm sure you guys are getting tired of listening to me. So the next one that I have is, I think it's Gemma or Gemma. It's Gemma. Oh, and I grabbed the wrong one. Oh, shoot. All right, well, I'm going to show you this one because they were both started in a real close proximity of each other. I'll have to find the other one. So this one is, and again, I'm going to say Gemma goes to the beach. And this is what she looks like when she's done. And a fellow stitcher turned Morgan and I onto this gal. She is called the French Giraffe, and she's on Instagram as the French Giraffe. And her name is Deb2, T-E-W, and she's actually in South Africa, I believe. But we found these patterns online, and that's all the further I am with her. Now, I did change up. I didn't like her. So her swimming suit was supposed to have been 208, and I didn't like the way it looked on my fabric. So I changed this to Weeks Purple Haze, and I really like it. So, and again, why isn't she done? Because, like, literally, why? And this one's anniversary is the 25th of June in 2020. I'm trying to see if maybe this is it. Because I was thinking I made her a patriotic bag. I did. This one gets a coffee one. So this one was started on the 21st of June in 2020. Same designer. And this one is, I'm going to call her Gemma. I'm probably totally hosing it. She's the patriotic giraffe. And this fabric is just some blue Aida that I had left over from a project that I had started 100 years ago. This one's got quite a bit more done. Those purple eyes just crack me up. Like, does a drop have purple eyes? Inquiring minds want to know. Liz Taylor would be jealous. If you know, you know. Let's see. Next one. I started on June 24th of 20. And there was actually somebody on, what was she on? I think she was on Instagram, that was asking about this pattern. And I had seen, again, looking for some other stuff, I had seen this pattern on I think it was eBay, this book, and it was like $5. So if you're still looking for it and you watch our channel, but it's the Unicorn and the Princess. And this fabric was from Stony Creek. I do remember that because I still have the receipt in my bag. And this is probably the most disgusting start of any of my projects. Yeah. This was one that I was making for Morgan. I am not a unicorn person. I have a unicorn that I stitched. In fact, it was my first big stitch. And again, from another magazine. And that's the only unicorn that I've ever seen that I'm really, well, that's not true. There's actually a Haid unicorn that I'm starting this year, but that's another story. All right, next one. Let's hope this is the right bag. Is the Imperial Shuttle. And let's see if I got it right. Nope. Didn't get it right. I might have to come back to that one. Hang on just a second. Sorry about that, guys. I grabbed the wrong one. So this one, I have too many Star Wars bags. This is also on Pattern Keeper, and another one that Morgan found from Awesome Patterns. And this one is just on white 14 count. And I'm pretty sure it goes like this. This is where I'm at. And my Grogu bag with Star Wars guys. This is another one that I really want to finish for him to have again for his home someday. I have a Boba Fett, and I have one more. I cannot remember for the life of me what it is. That is from the same designer that I need to get started. All right, next one is Spring Fling. This is a Brenda Gervais. This is a piece of just real pretty pink. I'm pretty sure this one was 16 count. It's the Rabbit. And Morgan and I are both doing this one. She's a lot farther along than I am. That's where I'm at. So again, another one that no reason why it's not done other than the fact that it's not done. I need to get it done so she can have the pattern so she can work on hers. So she's got the, yeah. Anyway, okay, and then out of that book that I told you guys earlier, no, it is neither. I take that back. It is in a magazine. So I have all of the even remember what they're called. Just like the Pretty Ladies. They're Joan Elliott's, and she released 4 of them. She released this one. She released... I can't remember what all of them are called. I know that I've got all 4 of them. But this is the one, the first one in the series. And it's the Medieval Lady. And I don't remember... Oh, I do too. This is a piece, so this is the same blue that the giraffe was, but we threw in some purple dye and gave it that speckled look. So I pretty much have the first half of her done, minus the little bit here from her, she needs her hand and the rest of her dress. And then I think I've got a little bit left up here in her hair, and then of course all the bead work. But other than that, I'm done to that halfway point. This is another one that I have not worked on because I need to blow up the pattern. And I had started this one. I was going to give it to Morgan, but I might keep all 4 of them for myself because she'll end up with them when I'm dead and gone anyway. But I'm really partial to those ladies. I don't know. We'll see. But I've got both of those here in my, I call this one my Joan Elliott postage bag because, you know, Joan Elliott. Next up, and it's not in here. I'm going to have to come back to this one because I don't know where this one is at. So we'll come back to this one. Next up is the Dragonfly Fairy. This is another one of the Joan Elliott's from the Cross Stitch collection. And every month for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, they were releasing these fold-out charts in this magazine. There was a Woodland Goddess. There's several of them that are in there in the different magazines. And she's another one that I need to take in and get blown up. This is a piece of fabric. I don't remember if Morgan or I done this one. But it was just a piece of white, and we threw in blue and purple and pink. And again, another very pathetic start. This one I will definitely be keeping because, as I told you earlier, the story about dragonflies, they're very close to my heart. I actually have a dragonfly tattoo on my arm that is an homage not only to my kids but to my dad. Let's see. Next up is the Enchanting Dragonfly. You guys seeing a trend here? Oh, and I have totally missed the days on all these. So let me go back. Imperial Shuttle was 626 of 20. Spring Fling was 71 of 20. Medieval Lady was 73 of 20. I don't know where that one is. I need to find it. Dragonfly Fairy was 76 of 20. And then this one is the Enchanting Dragonfly. And she was on 77 of 20. And this is the pattern. And it is from, again, World of Cross Stitching. And this is number 270. And I think this is 14 count. again, pathetic start. And I mean, these obviously are going to take more than just, you know, a few weeks to get them done. But they're ones that they need done. All right, next up is Cherry Chirp. This one is so sweet. This one I started on 7/10 of 20. I did this one on, looks like an 18 count cream. Again, call forward colors. I very seldom digress. And that's what it looks like. Cross stitch and needlework. I used to have a subscription to this one too. And yeah, don't laugh at me too hard, because this is, I don't even know which way. Maybe that way? I think so, because that looks like a butterfly. Yeah. I'd like to get this one done and make it into a magnet to hang on the refrigerator. I think that would be really cute. We'll see. All right. So next up is Fallen Leaves. I have done this companion piece, and it's in my bathroom. I keep finding my hoops. It's wonderful. I should have done this a month ago. I'd have found all my hoops. This pattern came with a package of specialty thread from DMC. And this is what it looks like finished. And I have, let's see, where am I at on this? Right there. And this is a piece of 18 count, no clue. It was a gift from a friend. Excuse me. She had quit stitching quite a while ago for some health issues, and literally gave me 2 big boxes of patterns, stitching, fabric, like the whole 9 yards. And she's like, do with it what you want, throw it away, give it away, use it, whatever. And I think I've given away like 2 patterns because they were not my aesthetic at all. Everything else is, I've either sewn or I have put into my plan to sew. All right, guys, so that takes us to almost the halfway point. I have got to get so I can go pick up Dalton. I didn't want to break this into 2 videos. I really didn't, but I think I'm going to have to. I will finish getting this organized, and I will come back to you maybe tomorrow. We'll see what the weather does with work schedules for the guys and whatnot, and see what I can make work. Worst case scenario, you won't hear from me until Monday. I mean, you guys can suffer that long without me, I think. And I will try and find the one that I'm missing. I don't know what I've done with it. It's got me worried. Anyway, I will wish you a good evening. Thank you for coming and watching me, and I would love critiques on how I did. I feel like I went on, but all of my stitching has stories. There's a purpose for why I just stitch what I stitch. So I hope you guys have a good night, and just be safe if you're in the path of this weather coming in, and just remember to always be kind. And Morgan and I really appreciate you supporting our channel. Enjoy, and I will talk to you in a few days. Thank you. Bye.